The following is a CBS 6 special presentation. For those who have served in the United States Armed Forces, today we say thank you.
High School MC Jared TC. Happy Veterans Day.
Live from the Virginia War Memorial, this is the Commonwealth's Veterans Day ceremony. Now, we welcome a word from the Governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, the Honorable Ralph S. Northam.
Hello, I'm Governor Ralph Northam, and welcome to the 2021 Commonwealth's Veterans Day ceremony. Today is truly a day of celebration as we show our appreciation for the millions of our fellow Americans who have served in our armed forces for the past 235 years. Veterans Day is particularly special here in Virginia as the Old Dominion is home to more than 713,000 veterans. 1 in every 12 Virginians has worn the uniform of our country. And of these veterans, over 109,000 are women, the highest number per population of any state in the United States. As Virginians, we must continue to do more than just say thank you to our veterans on one day each November. It is up to us to make sure our veterans receive the care and benefits they earned and deserve every day of the year. As a veteran myself, doing all we can for those who served us has always been very important to me. We prioritize the Virginia Value Veterans, or V3 program, which connects veterans with private employers, local and state agencies, and educational institutions who are committed to recruiting, hiring, and retaining veteran employees. So far, the V3 program has served over 85,000 veterans. Virginia was one of the first 7 states to sign on to the National Governor's Challenge to prevent suicide among service members, veterans, and their families. This national call to action has brought together state, federal, local, and nonprofit agencies in the Commonwealth to prevent the tragedy of suicide in our military and veterans population. We expanded the number of state veteran service offices to 34, each fully staffed with trained and accredited veteran service representatives to help Virginia veterans and their families take advantage of the medical, educational, financial, and other benefits earned through their service. For our veterans who need nursing and rehabilitative care, we're near completion of 2 new veteran care centers in Fauquier County and Virginia Beach to add to our existing care centers in Richmond and Roanoke. While we have made great strides, there is always more to do to show our appreciation to our veterans and their families. As Pam and I depart the Governor's Mansion, both of us will personally continue to work for and be advocates for all our fellow Virginia veterans and their families. Now, let's join together and take this next hour to celebrate the service and sacrifices of our veterans during this ceremony. Thank you again for being a part of this Commonwealth's Veterans Day ceremony, and may God bless Virginia's veterans and their families.
Well, good morning. Good morning, and welcome to the Commonwealth's Veterans Day celebration of service. I'm Clay Mountcastle, the director of the Virginia War Memorial, and on behalf of the staff and all of us here, I'd like to welcome you back to your War Memorial and say what an honor it is to have you with us this morning. We have a great program lined up and some great folks with me up here on the platform. It is always a real pleasure to host the First Lady of Virginia, Pamela Northam. Thank you, ma'am, for being here. Very fortunate to have her with us today. I'm also joined by the Commonwealth's Acting Secretary for Veterans and Defense Affairs, Kathleen Jabbs. Madam Secretary, thank you. The Commissioner of Virginia's Department of Veterans Services, John Maxwell. Commissioner, thank you. Okay. And we've got the Adjutant General of Virginia, Major Tim Williams. Or, excuse me, Major General Tim Williams. I just demoted you, sir. I apologize for that. And we have the National Guard's NCO of the Year, Sergeant Samuel Johnson. He'll be leading us in the pledge. We have a number of distinguished guests in our audience today. I know Senator Kane is with us today. Delegate Carr, it's wonderful to see you with us today. In reality, you are all distinguished guests today. We greatly appreciate you having here. And perhaps most importantly today, we have soldiers, sailors, Marines, airmen, coasties, and maybe even some space guardians. I don't know if we have any of the space guardians in with us yet. But we're so glad to have you here. We have Blue Star family members. We have friends of veterans. And we have people with us today who are simply proud of what and whom this day represents. And what really brings us all here together this morning is right behind me. Love of country. Pride in what we as Americans stand for, and pride in those Americans among us that have loved this country so much that they have served it and continue to do so. Veterans are many things. I've always found them to be awe-inspiring. Growing up in an Army family in Cold War West Germany, I was always amazed by the tank crews operating the M1 Abrams tanks in my dad's unit. My dad's sitting right over there. These were young, energetic Americans from all parts of our country, and they were so good. They were like giants. They stood in the path of Soviet aggression and dared the Russians to make their day. And the black hat instructors at the U.S. Army's Advanced Airborne School, who constantly reminded me to get my head out of my fourth point of contact. Men and women so exacting, so totally focused and professional that I trusted them completely, even while questioning my own sanity every time I fell out of an airplane. And then there's Chief Warrant Officer Mike. They all went by first names. A Black Hawk pilot for the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment, the Night Stalkers, who volunteered to fly through a nasty Iraqi sandstorm in the middle of the night, not once, not twice, but 3 times to extract a team of Rangers in a bad spot. I saw him just after his last flight, walking from the flight line, completely covered in orange dust and sweat. He waved at me when he saw me and shouted 4 words, I love my job. The 160th motto is Night Stalkers don't quit, and clearly they do not, and I am all of them. We all have our reasons for wanting to celebrate service to the nation and to thank our veterans. Hopefully the ceremony will help us all communicate those reasons to those that need to hear them. And now, Sergeant Johnson will please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for the national anthem to be performed by the Benedictine High School Chorus. There you go. Hey, thank you all. Please be seated. Since we are celebrating service to the nation this morning, there's perhaps no better person to share comments with us than the person who commands an organization that's history begins well before the founding of our nation, the Virginia National Guard. Major General Tim Williams is the Adjutant General of Virginia and a true friend and supporter of the Virginia War Memorial. Please welcome General Williams.
General. It's all good. It's all good. Good morning. This is Northam. It's great to have you here with us today. My boss, the Acting Secretary, Ms. Javs, thank you so much. And it's good to see my battle buddy, John Maxwell, Senator Kane, Delegate Carr, Delegate McGuire. It's great to see everybody. And if I'm missing, in fact, there's so many dignitaries here today. Let me just right up front say all protocols observed. It's wonderful to have you here with us today. So, indeed, it is a good morning. I was expecting kind of a chilly day, and what we got was incredible. I think this is absolutely, without a doubt, the most beautiful Veterans Day I can remember in a long time. And here we are together. I can't think of any better way to pay tribute to our veterans. So Clay, Dr. Mountcastle, thank you so much for inviting me to speak for just a few minutes. And as you would expect, as the Adjutant General of Virginia, I'm going to certainly focus on the National Guard. And let me be very clear, your National Guard. So the last 24 months have underscored how important today is for a multitude of reasons, one of which is to recognize the great things that our men and women in uniform do for us. So that in mind, I'll give you a quick snapshot of our National Guard, as well as our Virginia Defense Force for these many months. And there have been some truly significant milestones. For anyone not familiar with the National Guard, we are a unique dual force with a state and a federal mission to support the citizens of the Commonwealth of Virginia, and the federal mission to act as the combat reserve of the U.S. Army and the U.S. Air Force. The utilization of the National Guard, the Virginia National Guard that is, from 2019 to today, has been extraordinary. Our soldiers, airmen, and Defense Force personnel have been called forward at a rate that we haven't seen since World War II. Supporting our state and our nation in a wide array of operations, and working with multiple state and federal partners that keep us and our citizens safe here in Virginia. By this coming January, more than 2,000 Virginia National Guard personnel will be mobilized onto federal active duty. That's the most since the Iraq surge in 2007. And when you add in soldiers from Maryland and Kentucky serving in the 29th Infantry Division, it is the most soldiers of the storied 29th that have been mobilized since 1942. Our soldiers are maintaining a U.S. military posture in Southwest Asia sufficient to strengthen our defense relationships and build partner capacity, managing base operations and providing contracting support in the region. More than 1,000 soldiers will provide a security force in the Horn of Africa. We will also provide a mission command and rotary wing aviation support for the NATO-led peacekeeping support operations in Kosovo. Our airmen continue to stand ready to provide support across the globe for F-22 fighter jet air dominance, civil engineering, cyber operations, weather forecasting, and intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance. Our Defense Force personnel continue to provide additional capacity for domestic response operations in support of the Virginia National Guard and their fellow Virginians. And with the pace of federal mobilization, their role is even more critical than ever. And remember, they are the true volunteer force, receiving a salary only when called upon. On top of all this, our team at Fort Pickett has worked tirelessly to support Operation Allies Welcome, supporting more than 10,000 Afghans coming into the United States. None of these operations would be remotely supportable if it weren't for the tremendous behind-the-scenes work of our state and federal civilian personnel. And of course, our success is absolutely a reflection of the continued service and sacrifice of our families and our employers. They are truly the key element of the National Guard. For our veterans in the audience, this is your day. Enjoy it. You earned it. But remember, you're a soldier, a sailor, airman, Marine, Coast Guardsman, and as Clay said, maybe some Guardians here. We have work to do in our communities. It's up to us to carry the torch, to tell the story of our American military, and I know you're up to that task. Stand up, be counted for, be an example of what a good citizen is, and I appreciate all that you do. So ladies and gentlemen, again, thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to spend a few minutes with you. Again, it's great to see this crowd here and to enjoy this beautiful Veterans Day. Thank you.
The general just asked me, was that quick enough? I said, that's perfect. Perfect, sir. You know, who am I to say to a general? Anyway. All right. That's right, sir. Anyway, we like to say here at the War Memorial that every day is Memorial Day. But I believe it can also be said that with Virginia's Department of Veterans Services, every day is Veterans Day. Here today to represent DVS and to introduce our keynote speaker is Commissioner John Maxwell. Please welcome Commissioner Maxwell.
Thank you very much, Clay, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, First Lady Northam, Acting Secretary Jabs, Senator Kane, General Williams, Delegate Carr, Delegate McGuire, former Commissioner Newby, good to see you, sir, and all of our distinguished guests here, and most especially my fellow veterans and your families here and those who are watching us from home. Thank you for celebrating Veterans Day with us today. I also want to thank all who planned this ceremony, especially the Virginia War Memorial staff and our communications teams. Trust me, this was no small feat. I'm truly honored to join all of you in recognizing those who proudly wore the cloth of our nation. The sacrifices of uniformed service members have allowed our nation to grow and flourish through wars, conflicts, and restless periods of peace since we declared our independence. No doubt, the legacy of those who served is the very foundation of our nation's strength and security. President Dwight D. Eisenhower made the first Veterans Day proclamation following congressional action that officially changed the name of the day from Armistice Day to Veterans Day. So I'm going to read a section of that proclamation as I think it epitomizes why we are gathering today. I quote, "I, Dwight D. Eisenhower, President of the United States of America, do hereby call upon all of our citizens to observe Thursday, November 11th, 1954, as Veterans Day. On that day, let us solemnly remember the sacrifices of all those who fought so valiantly on the seas, in the air, and on foreign shores to preserve our heritage of freedom, and let us reconsecrate ourselves to the task of promoting and enduring peace so that their efforts shall not have been in vain." I think it's important to reiterate that during our hardest times, our nation's service members and veterans fulfilled their oath to support and defend the Constitution, and in doing so, they kept our country safe and free. Thank you. So on behalf of the Virginia Department of Veterans Services, please accept our most sincere gratitude for your service to our country. And now it's my distinct pleasure to introduce Virginia's Acting Secretary of Veterans and Defense Affairs, the Honorable Kathleen T. Jabs. A proud graduate of the United States Naval Academy, Secretary Jabs is a U.S. Navy veteran and retired captain with an amazing list of previous duties and experiences. She's also a military spouse and a published author. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Virginia's Acting Secretary of Veterans and Defense Affairs, Kathleen Jabs.
Good morning. Thank you for those kind words, Commissioner Maxwell, and thank you to everyone from the Virginia Department of Veterans Services for all you do to help our Virginia veterans and their families every day. Thank you to those who are here in attendance and for those joining us virtually to celebrate our Virginia veterans and their service to our Commonwealth and their country. On this day, it's our duty to pay our respect and show our gratitude to all who have worn the uniform in service to our nation. I'm grateful to be part of a community where we can all celebrate in this beautiful, treasured, and sacred grounds here on this gorgeous day. What a group right here in front of me now. Senator Kaine, Mrs. Northam, General Williams, General Assembly members, Guardsmen, reservists, family members, citizens, and most of all, veterans, especially our veterans. Thank you for your commitment to honoring this day and for all the service you have given our country. It's my distinct honor to be here as Governor Ralph Northam's Acting Secretary of Veterans and Defense Affairs. The Governor's charge to me is straightforward. Make Virginia the most military and veteran-friendly state in the country. That's a broad mandate, and the governor means it. He's a proud veteran, a former Army doctor, and he understands what it feels like to wear the cloth of our nation, to make sacrifices, to leave a family behind, and to serve our country. All of us in the Veterans and Defense Affairs team share that passion for veterans. We treat every day as Veterans Day because our pledge remains the same: better the lives of Virginia veterans and their families. At this time, I want to take an opportunity to say a special thank you to our Virginia National Guard, Virginia Department of Emergency Management, and the Virginia Department of Health for all they have done over the last 20 months to lead the Commonwealth's efforts to address the COVID-19 pandemic. First with testing and then vaccination. We could not be any prouder of these teams. In addition to the work with COVID, these same teams have been on the front lines of caring for the Afghans who were evacuated from Kabul when our country left that war. Right now, more than 10,000 Afghans, men, women, and children, are housed on military bases here in Virginia. These state agency teams have once again answered the call to public service. Our Commonwealth is providing tremendous assistance to those Afghans and their families who served and helped the United States military during Operations Enduring Freedom and Operation Freedom Sentinel. We would expect no less. We owe these Afghans, and we're proud of this work. If you see a Virginia Guardsman or meet a Department of Emergency Management or Department of Health professional, please thank them. Their work is integral to our Commonwealth and the commitment we hold to all of our citizens to welcome everyone, old and new. Virginia is a special place. 1 in every 12 Virginia citizens is a veteran, one of the largest percentages of population per capita in any state in the nation. When you add military families, relatives, we're probably looking at 30 to 35%, maybe more, of the total population who has a military affiliation. It's both this tradition of service as well as the understanding of what service entails that makes Virginia unique among states. Virginians were among the first citizens of the fledgling United States. The early settlers of Virginia fought for freedom and established democracy. Virginians know that defending freedom entails sacrifice and calls upon the highest ideals of honor, courage, and commitment. The sacrifices of uniformed service members have allowed our nation to grow and flourish for more than 245 years. From Bunker Hill to to Baghdad, to Kabul, and in every war and conflict in between, veterans' vigilance and determination have forged our nation's character. Starting with the shoeless and starving members of the Continental Army rushing to Yorktown in the sweltering heat, you can find descriptions of campaigns and sacrifice embedded in all of our history's fabric. The muddy trenches of the First World War, the windswept beaches of Normandy, the frozen mountains of Korea, sweltering jungles in Vietnam, and sand and soaring mountains in Iraq and Afghanistan. Military service continues onward this day, and with it, sacrifice, endurance, heartbreak, grit, pain, incredible bonds of friendship, all in the belief that we are all called to be part of something greater than ourselves, to give back and defend our country and our way of life. Today, military members are serving around the globe. They have left their families, their familiar homes, their comfort to make the world a safer place. For we are in conflict. We don't feel it or see it, not right here, not now, but the tensions are real. Right now, as in times of old, our nation's service members, our next generation of veterans, ordinary Americans, are acting in extraordinary ways to keep our country safe and free, to preserve the peace and keep our democracy alive. And in Virginia, we believe strongly that if you take care of us, we will take care of you. If you fight for us, we will fight for you. If you have our backs, we will have yours. And when you come home, we will welcome you and your families. In Virginia, we know we say thank you best with acts, not words. Following Governor Northam's lead, we have worked tirelessly to ensure that we advocate for veterans, their families, caregivers, and survivors. Our veteran services teams work to connect veterans to the benefits they earned and to ensure veterans receive transition services, employment opportunities, educational resources, crisis response, health care, and memorial affairs. We work to ensure veterans have timely access to VA and community resources. That means doing all we can to prevent veteran suicides and ending veterans' homelessness. It's the duty of all Americans to remember the sacrifices of all veterans and to make certain that our commitments to them and their families are always on.
Congratulations to...
Thank you all for coming to the ceremony today. Thank you all for being veterans advocates. And most of all, thank you to our veterans and their families. May God bless Virginia and her veterans.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you. I spoke earlier of being in awe of veterans, and that sentiment surely extends to our military families, who are very familiar with the meaning of service and sacrifice. It's an unpredictable, taxing, and often very difficult life, and it produces some of the toughest moms in our community, and dads too. And that's my mom right over there. Yeah, that's right. But there can be no doubt that the strength and might of the U.S. military is due in large part to the strength and resilience of our military family members. I know we have a number of Blue Star family members with us today, and I want you to know that we greatly appreciate your service, and we are very proud of you. In the spirit of keeping military families in the forefront of our minds throughout the year and honoring them, we here at the War Memorial have begun a program to recognize a military family from Virginia each year as our annual Inspire Military Family of the Year, and to have a photo of the family on display for all visitors to see. We are joined today by John and Janet Cogbill and John's parents, Jack Cogbill and Patricia Cogbill. 2 generations of service and life with the U.S. Army. Jack served in World War II and Patricia joined him in post-war torn Germany a year later. John III and Janet served in the 70s and 80s and are now Blue Star parents themselves of John and Jamie, both career Army officers, one with the 18th Airborne Corps in Fort Bragg and one at Virginia Tech running the Army ROTC program. In fact, if you had the time and ability to search the historical record, you would see that the Cogbills have been serving in the U.S. Army since the American Revolution. Unfortunately, we don't have enough time today to go through each generation, but we are in awe of this long heritage of service to the nation and all along the way, serving as a family. So I'm very honored and excited to announce the Cogbill family as the Virginia War Memorial's inaugural Inspire Military Family of the Year for 2020, and they are right over here if you want to. If you ever have times to catch a Cogbill and get some of their stories, you will be engaged for hours. Some amazing, amazing stories with the family. I'm also very proud to introduce our annual Veterans Day Essay Contest winners. Education is central to our mission here at the War Memorial, and we love seeing what students can produce from Virginia's schools. The theme of this year's essay contest was to write about a veteran who inspires them. And here today to share his essay is our middle school winner, Joseph Moreno of the Basilica School of St. Mary in Fairfax. Come on up, Joseph. Now I'm going to angle these microphones a little bit to make it a little more fair for Joseph. All right, there you go. If you can, there you go, buddy.
Yeah. My name is Joseph Patrick Moreno. I'm a sixth grader at the Basilica School of St. Mary in Alexandria. Writing about one veteran who served after the terrorist attacks of September 11, 2001 is hard because I have two veterans in my life who inspire me. My parents both served in the United States Army after September 11th, and they both have taught me many lessons on service and sacrifice that all of us can learn from. My dad inspires me with his hard work and service to our country. He's a father of 8, and I am the second oldest. He is a lawyer and also a cancer survivor. In the Army, my dad gives advice to soldiers and commanders about things like the use of weapons and the treatment of prisoners and how to be sure the Army is obeying the law. My dad joined the military in April of 2001, and his first assignment was with Army Reserve Unit in New York City. He met my mom in that unit. 5 months later, after joining the Army, the attacks of September 11th happened that took down the World Trade Center. It was actually just a few miles away from where he was working. My dad served in 3 tours after September 11th in Germany, in Iraq, Africa, and Germany. He earned the Bronze Star Medal. My dad is still serving in the Army Reserve to this day and is now as a lieutenant colonel. I chose my mom because of her courage and sacrifice. My mom joined the Army Reserve when she was just 17, when she was a junior in high school. She joined to help serve and protect others and risk her life for them. After September 11th, my mom was deployed to Iraq and had to leave college for a year. She and my dad were stationed at Balad Air Base in Iraq in 2004, which was also called Anaconda. You may be wondering what she did. My mom used to drive trucks all around the country of Iraq and Kuwait. She was constantly on the road driving all day, sometimes for a day or two, sometimes from 2 to 3 weeks. She used to sleep on the top of the truck, and she was constantly in danger of getting injured, but she risked her life for the sake of other people. My mom earned the Combat Action Badge, which was created in 2005 for soldiers who served in combat after September 11th. That is just a few reasons why I chose my mom for this essay, because her bravery inspires me. My parents each risked their lives for serving overseas for our country, to serve and protect America. I think we could all learn a lesson from serving in the military, like how to use a firearm, or maybe going into combat or being an officer. I think joining the military is a great thing. I respect anybody who can join in any service like the Coast Guard, Air Force, or Navy, or Marines. But I would probably pick the Army like my parents.
Yeah. Good boy. Good boy. Nicely done.
essay to tell people about my parents and encourage people to join the armed forces. Every day, soldiers are putting their lives in danger to protect others. It is not about money, because people live in the military do not always make a lot. My dad left a law firm to serve overseas, and my mom had to leave college and finish later after she came home from Iraq. But it makes you brave and part of something more than yourself. So I hope that when kids hear about my parents and grow up, they will consider going into any of the armed forces to serve America. For these reasons, I am proud of my parents and their decision to join the Army and to serve our country after September 11th. Thank you to all the veterans who have served our country, and you inspire me. I hope to someday serve you.
Good job. All right. Awesome. Awesome job, Joseph, and that's not easy, I know. Good choice, too. Now you know why he won the essay contest. Just kidding, just kidding. All right. All right. Our high school essay winner is Maria Turner, all the way from Patrick County High School to share her essay. Come on, Maria.
Benjamin Disraeli said, "The legacy of heroes, the memory of a great name, and the inheritance of a great example." There have been countless military members that have put their lives on the line for our tomorrows. Their stories and legacies inspire our country and remind us to be thankful for our freedoms. One fallen soldier in particular has influenced me and many others in my community. Corporal Jonathan Bowling was from Patrick County, Virginia. He attended Patrick County High School, participated in the ROTC program, and joined the U.S. Marine Corps Reserve after graduating in 2000. In 2002, he joined the Martinsville Police Department after earning a degree in criminal justice from Patrick Henry Community College. He also worked as a volunteer firefighter. In May 2004, Bowling was sent to California with his unit. Later, in August 2004, they were sent to Iraq. On January 26th, at about 3 o'clock in the morning, his convoy was hit by a rocket grenade attack. Jonathan Bowling died from injuries sustained during that attack. Jonathan Bowling's sacrifice had a significant impact on the small county and the individuals who resided there. He left behind a clear example of generosity, courage, and kindness, a message and reminder of positivity and sacrifice, and a wide legacy that is still being continued today. Jonathan Bowling was a distinct model of courage, honor, and overall kindness for Patrick County. After news of his death, nearly 5,000 locals came to pay respects to his family. The funeral home did not have enough room, so they moved his coffin to the auditorium of Patrick County High School, where he had graduated from just 5 years earlier. The following day, many local businesses were not open, and people lined the streets as the hearse passed by. Mary Alley, owner of the Coffee Break, said, "You spend all those years watching a kid grow into someone you're proud to have around, and just like that, he's gone in the blink of an eye." Bowling had affected many lives, not only through his life-changing profession, but through the actions he took when no one was watching. He worked in his church frequently, visited elders in his neighborhood, and helped older people load groceries into their cars. Even when his father, Darrell Bowling, a state trooper, reminded him that he could get Jonathan reassigned to another military unit that might be less dangerous, Jonathan refused. His father described Jonathan feeling like serving in Iraq was his duty, no matter how life-threatening it could be. Jonathan Bowling, whether he was serving in the military or simply being a helping hand, was the epitome of a good person. When Jonathan Bowling left for Iraq, he knew it was a possibility that he wouldn't be returning. Before leaving, he had written a letter detailing instructions for the distribution of his possessions and his funeral. The end of the letter was the message of love for his family. "I love you both very much, and just know that I'm at peace. So try not to cry and look forward to the future." The last thing Jonathan Bowling left for his family in the midst of his death was a letter, not of sadness or mourning, but of optimism and peace, possibly the best gift he could leave for his grieving family. Each spring, there is a motorcycle ride in Jonathan Bowling's honor. This serves as a way to show respect for Bowling and raise money for the scholarship named in his memory, Corporal Jonathan W. Bowling Scholarship Fund. Every year, a Patrick County student receives funding from the scholarship, particularly students who look to go into public service. This is a great tribute to Bowling's memory and a good way to demonstrate his love towards his community. Corporal Jonathan Bowling was a generous, hardworking, honorable, and kind military member, neighbor, friend, son, and brother. He meant so much to many people in Patrick County. His loved ones have carried on his legacy and told his story of heroism, duty, and sacrifice. For friends who have asked how they could show support and love for Jonathan's family, Darrell Bowling, his father, had one request. As you sit or stand or walk or run through whatever time you have left here on this earth, from time to time, close your eyes and think of him. And as he whispers by, reach out and touch him and hold him and comfort him and love him. Thank you.
That's a wonderful job, Maria and Joseph. Thank you so much. And thank you to all the students out there that contributed to our essay contest. This was definitely the largest submission group we had yet, and we hope it gets bigger and bigger every year. But it was really a pleasure to read a lot of those articles from around the Commonwealth. Before we go any further, just a few people I definitely want to thank, and hopefully you'll help me thank them. I want to thank the combined clans of Benedictine and St. Andrew's Legion Bagpipes that provided music leading into this. It's always great to have them with us. The 380th Army Band. Always love having these guys here, and we're gonna hear them in a minute. And it's probably not surprising that the Capitol Police that keeps us safe here every single day has a great number of veterans in their ranks. So thank you to the Capitol Police that keep us safe. And they're always good to me. I ordered a few extra Capitol Police today because we knew we would have a bunch of Marines here, and they can get rowdy at times. So whenever there's a good group of Marines around, I like to have a few cops around too, just in case. You never know. All right. So it's Veterans Day, and that means it's service medley time. Okay? The 380th Army Band is going to play the service songs from each branch of the armed forces, and we ask that you veterans in attendance stand when you hear your branch song and be recognized. 380th Army Band.
1, 2, 1, 2.
My name's Jim Dara. I served in the U.S. Navy, retired Master Chief Petty Officer, 20 years service.
My name is Mary D. Parzinski, United States Coast Guard. I enlisted in the Coast Guard in 1974, and I retired in 1994.
Mario Flores, U.S. Army, commissioned in 2011, and currently still actively serving.
Dana Rivera. I was in the Air Force. I did active duty for 10 years, 1980 to 1990. I was air traffic controller.
My name is Anthony Swan. I am a United States Marine. I served from 1983 to 2010. I'm an infantry Marine. I served in different...
Denise Alderman. So yeah, I was one of the signing charter members, and at that time I was in charge of membership.
For me, I was a young man. I'd met my wife-to-be in my early 20s, and thought, well, if I'm going to have a marriage, and support a family, I need a real career. And so the Navy was something that was already been sort of in the back of my mind with my father having been served.
I was raised at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. So my family, all of my family is Army, most of us, except for a couple of us. They were good, like the Army, but there was something about the Marines. They said they was going to give me discipline. So I said to myself, well, I know that I'm a hard head, and I need somebody who's going to put me in my place.
One of the reasons I went into the Coast Guard was I was going to school full-time, and I was working at the cleaners full-time. And the recruiters and the military base in Elizabeth City, everybody used to bring their uniforms there. And I loved the uniform. I said, oh, that is nice. I like this here. And then I was going to school. The guy said, hey, we got a good GI Bill. So that's what got me, free education.
My desire to serve is actually founded on the strong military lineage of my family and their service to our country, and later codified by the events of 9/11. And so the experiences that I've had in my life and both the cultural implications just naturally drove me to want to serve my country.
I am an Air Force brat. So I have been technically in the Air Force since I was 3 years old.
My son served for 6 years in the Army, and he's currently he's currently in active duty reserves. And then my brother served. He was in the Marine. He was a pilot. He flew F-18, and unfortunately, that started to turn gold. We lost my brother in service in '99.
I think that it means that there's a diverse group of highly competent, highly trained Americans who recognize that freedom isn't free and are willing to take that tab.
To me, it's about honor. It's about courage. It's about commitment. It's about understanding that there's a greater purpose than just looking out for yourself, looking out for your family, and that is to I think to appreciate, to understand the freedoms that we have in this country, and to be willing to make the necessary sacrifices to defend that.
When we raise our hands and we take that oath, we understand that our lives are going to be, can't possibly be forfeited for the good of the nation.
These men and women have devoted their life to protecting them and have made tremendous sacrifices to serve the country and are oftentimes away from their families. And there's a void that's left when they go away. And there's just sacrifice on both ends.
My father is a bishop, and he still talk about his girls in the military. He said, my girls serve this country.
I think it's just a day of recognizing that these are men and women who made the decision to support their country.
That's really what a veteran is doing, is recognizing the special nature of what we have here in this country, our way of life, our Constitution, this republic, and then being willing to go out and sacrifice for it.
Veterans Day means an opportunity to recognize service people who have sacrificed an awful lot to serve the country, to recognize them, to show our appreciation toward them, and to remember everything that they have done for our country.
It's a day of reflection. It's a day of reflection of the veterans that have came before me. It's a day of reflection of those veterans that are no longer with us. It is a day to pray for those that are in uniform. Dare I say, it's a day to pray harder for those that are still in uniform.
So I think Veterans Day is an opportunity for us to come together as a country and to refresh our memory on the impacts that generations of Americans have had in their sacrifice to our country. I also believe that it's an opportunity for us to thank the men, women, and most importantly, their families for placing the needs of the country above their own.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, as we said, with our Veterans Day, we always want to honor those veterans that cannot be here today because they made the ultimate sacrifice. We're currently surrounded by the names of nearly 12,000 Virginians that sacrificed their lives for our freedoms in World War II, Korea, Vietnam, and Desert Storm. So as we present this memorial wreath and take a moment of silence, please keep in your minds how important it is that we celebrate their service, we honor their sacrifice, and we be grateful for the fact that they've given us everything that they have. And with that, the First Lady of Virginia and Denise Alderman of the Blue Star families will now present the memorial wreath. Now, please join me in a moment of silence to honor Virginia's fallen. Thank you very much. I have two announcements here at the conclusion of our ceremony. One, the Virginia War Memorial has just opened its newest exhibit, Who They Were, Lives Worth Knowing, in our exhibit hall. When you have the chance, if it's not today, some other time, please visit that new exhibit. Made possible by support from the Virginia War Memorial Foundation, it tells the stories of 32 different Virginians that made the ultimate sacrifice, and not just their names, but their photo, their lives, what they were like, what they wanted to do with their life, their dreams, why they wanted to serve in the military, because we believe it's just as important to know who they were and not just their name. So please visit that exhibit inside when you can. And secondly, if we have any Vietnam-era veterans that served in the armed forces at any time between 1955 and 1975, anytime in the Vietnam era, and you have not yet received your commemorative pin, the 50th anniversary of Vietnam commemorative pin, our operations director, Ben King, will meet you right on the other side of the shrine here and present you with your commemorative Vietnam era pin. So please find Ben on the other side for that presentation. And with that, we want to thank you for attending today's Veterans Day ceremony. Of course, we thank all of our veterans for your service and all of our military families for your support. Have a wonderful, beautiful Veterans Day. Thank you.
To all the men and women who have served our great country, thank you for your service. This has been the Commonwealth's Veterans Day ceremony from the Virginia War Memorial.